the registers. I think this register term you have heard previously as well. So can anyone tell me in the entire computer system, where is the position of register? Where you will find out the registers in the
Processor.
entire memory system? Yes, inside the processors you will find the registers. Right. So now what is the, you can say, purpose of registers? Let's understand. So you can say if you have a flip-flop, simple flip-flop, and let me specifically say, let's say we have D flip-flop, which is optimized for storage. This will store 1 bit of information. But is really our all the tasks are able to do in 1 bit? Answer is no. So means whenever you want to store multi-bit information, then what you have to do, you have to club multiple flip-flops, right? And once you club multiple flip-flops, this is known as the registers. So you can say internally register is nothing new. It is the grouping of flip-flops or clubbing of flip-flops. Right. Now, where it placed in our system, right? So that is really important. So let's understand, suppose in your computer system, this is your processor, right? And here you have your, let's say your RAM. Now maybe you are aware whenever you want to perform any operation in the processor, it requires data to perform that operation. Now, how we'll get the data? Till now we know we'll get this data from the RAM. But it is directly coming from the RAM, or there are something in between to reach this till RAM or till the processor, the data, right? So data will not reach directly towards the processor. First, it will go from RAM to the cache memory. So maybe whenever you buy a processor, you'll see the cache memory as well. It has 2 MB cache memory, 3 MB cache memory, primary cache, secondary cache, and all those things, right? So you have seen that while you are buying the system. So first, this entire
Yes,
data,
sir.
whatever data is required, that will go for the cache memory. Then from the cache memory, it is going to the registers. And normally these registers actually part of your processor. So you can say when you say processor, here you have computing block and here you have memory block. Right. So this memory block actually nothing, these are the registers which resides inside the processor. Right. So this is the importance of registers. Whenever any data that processor want to process or processor want to store back into the RAM, it will go through the registers. Right. And what register is nothing, it's a group of flip-flops. So we will understand here 4-bit registers, and similarly once you do the replication of that, you can make 32-bit register, you can make 64-bit register, you can make 128-bit registers and so on. Right. So now you can say what is the purpose of this 32, 46? So maybe you have heard 32-bit system. Maybe you have heard 64-bit system. So how many of you have a laptop with 32-bit system? Anyone have 32-bit system laptop?
So नहीं
Some
आजकल
old
ज़्यादा
laptop. Yes?
computer.
Yes. No, like it's a quite old laptop. Maybe it was available close to 2008 or 7 sometimes. Means after that 64 comes into the picture. So most of you have 64-bit laptop. So what exactly this 64-bit means? It means you have one instruction that is going to this processor. Let's say this is your processor, one instruction, and this instruction size is 64-bit, right? That is going to the processor, and then processor will perform the operation and give you the result back. right? So that is the meaning of 32-bit, 64-bit. Now, if you are saying into the processor, I want to send one instruction at a time. So what should be the size of register to store this? So definitely you want register also 64-bit register, right? Now in order to make this 64-bit register, how many flip-flops we required?
64.
64 flip-flops we required, right? Immediately you can say. So in that way, you can say I want 64 flip-flop concatenated together, and that will be utilized to store 64-bit of information, right? Any doubt, guys, till this point?
सर
Anyone?
वो x64 क्या होता है प्रोग्राम फाइल्स x64 तो x64 जैसे x86 होता है वो भी क्या होता है वो पता नहीं और x64 फिर क्या होता है
S86 is
आर्किटेक्ट
8086 architecture, and this is following 32-bit system.
ओके और वो
When you
x
say x64, it is a 64-bit architecture, and
और वो
that will
x
follow 64-bit.
x क्यों
Yes.
आते हैं
X is just to say it's like a naming convention, nothing more.
ओके
It's just a naming convention. Okay. Now, next point, how will pass the data into the register? So there are two ways to pass the data. One is the serial manner, and second is the parallel manner. Uh-oh. Right. Now we'll see how to give input in the serial, how to give input the parallel. That we'll see. Right. Now another important point, when you give the data input, one is the serial means suppose you have data 1011. So first this bit will go into the input, then second clock cycle this will go into the input, then third clock cycle this will go into the input, and fourth clock cycle this will go as input. In case of parallel, what will happen? 1011, all will go into the same time whenever clock will be. You can say if it is negative edge, whenever negative edge will come, all the data will pass to the registers in one go. And in the serial manner, it will go one by one. That is the serial and parallel register. Definitely serial are slower, parallel are faster, but we'll see there are a lot of applications of serial registers as well. Now, if you say classification, these are divided based on input and output behavior. Right, so input we have seen serial input, and one is the parallel input. Similarly, we have output as well, serial output and parallel output. Now, by combining these two, we have four combination. If you combine these two options, serial in, serial out. Then we have serial in, parallel out. Then we have parallel in, serial out, and parallel in, parallel out. These are the four different variety of registers that we will see in today's lecture and then the next lecture. Serial in, serial out, parallel in, parallel out, serial in, parallel out, and parallel in, serial out. Right. So this is the based on the you can say requirement. Right. Now in these two we have two important application. One is the shift register. So we just few moment we'll talk about the shift register. And second is the storage register, where we just do the storage. Now you can say ultimately registers are used for storage. Then what is the purpose of shift register? So let me first give you the functionality of shift register. Then we will say how to make this shift register. So for example, we have 4 bit of information, right? And it is stored in here, let's say 1010. Now suppose it's a left shift register, or let's say right shift register. So in right shift register, right? So in that case, what will happen? Whenever next clock cycle will come, maybe the falling edge will come, what will happen? This will move towards this side. So then this will maybe become 0, 1. Suppose the input is 0, so it will become 0, 1, 0, 1. And this will go as a output. 0, it will go out. Right? So means if you have serial in, serial out, then what will happen in the next clock cycle? Whenever next clock cycle will come, then this will act as a output. In the next clock cycle, this will act as a output. In the next clock cycle, this will act as a output. So finally, what value we have in the register that depend upon the input and the clock cycle, right? Now, if I'm saying I have a shift register, now just recall your Python code. Now you suddenly say, why sir is asking for the Python code? Suppose you have a value 0, 1, 1, 0, and we have a capacity that will shift right side as well, and we have capacity to shift left side as well. If we have a functionality of left and right side, which particular operator we can utilize here, or which particular operator actually utilize this functionality? Just remind your Python. Have you seen any operator which are doing this kind of shifting?
Bitwise.
Bitwise operator, right? Right shift or left shift. Now, what is the functionality of these two operators actually? What exactly they was doing?
Shifting the bits.
Definitely shifting the bits, but ultimately what happened after the shifting?
Multiplication and division by powers of 2.
Exactly. So it's either multiplication or division. I will say integer division of 2 to the powers. So suppose you want to multiply 2 to the power n, then what you will do? Do right shift or left shift?
Left shift
This
n
direction.
times.
Right shift. Are you sure? It will go left shift. Right from here to here, it's a right
राइट
shift.
पे वो डेसिमल जाते हैं राइट और हम जो है इससे कंफ्यूज हो जाते हैं.
And this is the left shift. Let me put the arrows. Right shift and left shift. So what will happen? Suppose you have value 1, 0, 1, 1 something, and you are shifting in this side. So then what will happen? One additional 0 will be added once you are shifting one bit in this side. And in this side, suppose you have value 1, 0, 1, 1, then what will happen? 0 will be added and this will be discarded. So your value will become 0, 1, 0, 1, and here your value will increase actually. So this is left and right shift. Got it? With one bit you're talking. So means if you want to perform the shift operation, then you require a specific variety of register, that is the shift register. So we'll see quickly what shift register is and how it is look like. Now, when we say we want storage, just storage. So which flip-flop is useful when you say storage?
D flip-flop.
Definitely D flip-flop. So whenever you are talking about the storage, you will immediately use the D flip-flop. So let's quickly make a truth table of D flip-flop so that you can easily recall it as well. So whenever, and let me make this D flip-flop as the age trigger. And let me say it's a negative age trigger. So accordingly, I will make the, so you have clock, here you have input, and here you have Qn plus 1. So when your clock is 0, irrespective of this value, that will remain Qn. Now, whenever your negative age will come, and if D value is 0, what will be the Qn plus 1? That will also become 0. Another negative age will come if your value is 1, so this will also become 1. Right? Got it? Anyone?
Yes,
Any
sir.
till this point? So means whenever your age will come, then whatever the D value, it will propagate to the you can say as a output. But if your clock is 0, then your value will not propagate and it will remain same. That is the functionality of D flip-flop that we already know, right? So let me make, suppose I want to make 4-bit register. So definitely we will require a 4-bit or you can say 4 flip-flops to make this register. Right. Now definitely we have, as I said, it's a negative clock edge, so we can make this. So this is your clock which is syncing all of them. Now it has an input. Let's say here we have input and here we have output. So let me say it says D0, it is D1, it is D2, and it is D3. Right. Accordingly, you will say it's a Q0, it's a Q1, it's Q2, and it's Q3. And here input, let me take a small letter D3, it's a D2, it's a D1, and it's D0. Right. Now what happened? So this is normal, you can say register. Now one more important point that we required a load here, load value, right? So what this load is saying, or you can say is store and load. There are two terms. So let me take it here, and in a minute I'll say what is the use of this. So this is your clock. Now this clock is not only for this register. For entire system, you have same clock. It is not like for every register we have separate clock. No. For the entire system, we have one single clock. Right. Now, suppose what I want, suppose this clock like 1 megahertz, you have a frequency of 1 megahertz. Right. Then what will be the clock period? Timing, clock cycle, you can say. Anyone? So clock cycle will be 1 upon your frequency. So that is in the second. So once you say it will be 1 microsecond. What it means your one clock cycle where you have one rising edge, one falling edge means all 4 values. Point from here to here, this will complete in 1 microsecond. It means whatever the D values we have, that will propagate to Q3, Q2, Q1 and Q0 in every 1 microsecond. But what I want to store a particular value in, let's say 100 microsecond. After that, I want to change. So this is not possible here. One way, either you will not change the D values, but that is not, maybe sometimes it is not under your control. But what we want, so that's why we have given an external source, that is load and store. Right? What this load and store will do, once you say load, then it will active all D values and will propagate to the queue. Once you say store, then the impact of this D3, D2, D1 and D0 will be gone and it will not change the Q3, Q2, Q1 and Q0 value. That is the operation of load and store. Simply, what load will say, whatever the value of D that need to be stored into the flip-flop and your output value Q3 will impacted by D3, D2 will impacted by Q2, D1 is impacted by Q1 and D0 is impacted by Q0. Whenever your load is high, whenever your store is high, or you can say load is represented by 1, store is represented by 0. So when your store value is this signal value is 0 means it is represented as a store. In that case, what will happen? whatever value you are passing in D3, D2, D1 and D0, it will not impact your Q3, Q2, Q1 and Q0. It will remain same until your store value is 0. So that is the additional functionality that we required into the register. How to make sure that load and store is there. Load means whenever you want to propagate the value, you will make that load value, that signal value 1, and whenever you want to store it for a longer time, you will make signal value 0. So then it will act as a storage. Any doubt, guys, till this point? Guys, any doubt till this point? Anyone, any doubt till this point? Now let me make our first register. So just give me a minute. Right. So let me make our first register serial in and serial out. How it will be look like. So this register will be like first flip-flop, then we have second flip-flop, then we have third flip-flop, then we have fourth flip-flop. I'm talking about 4-bit here. Right. Now what exactly it will do? It will take input and it will propagate here, propagate here, propagate here, and finally you will have output. Let's say Q0. This is your D0, D1, D2, and D3. And these all connected with the same clock. Have we seen this architecture previously? Where the inputs are connected with the next output. So let's say it's D3. This is Q3, it's D2, it's Q2, it's D1, it's Q1, it's D0. Have we seen this architecture previously? Some similar architecture. Guys, are you able to recall ring counter? Yes or no? Are you able to recall the ring counter? Some like slight difference is there, but somehow it will look same, where the previous output is going as an input to the next flip-flop. Now, how exactly this will operate? That we need to understand. Suppose I want to store 1111, right? And this is like have a reset state. Initially all stored as 0. So initially all values are, this will be 0, this will be 0, this will be 0, and this will also 0, right? Now what I want, so first I will feed this value here. So let me represent in the form of clock so that you can easily understand. Like that. And as we are saying, it's a negative edge trigger, so it will impact here, or your value will propagate in the negative edge. Right now, at the time when this value is there, so let me drive Q3 value, Q2 value, Q1 value, and Q0 value. Right. So if you are saying Q3 value, initially it is 0. So let me say it is 0. This is also 0. This is also 0. And this is also 0. Now when this first negative edge will come, as this 1 is an input here, then what will happen in this negative edge? This will propagate and this will become 1. Right. till next clock cycle. This will remain 0 because here input is 0. So this will remain 0. This will also remain 0. This will also remain 0. Right. Now in the next clock cycle, we'll see because this will become 1. So here input will become 1. Right. And in this point, inputs are remain 0, 0. So then what happened in the next clock cycle? Your Q1 input is again 1 because the second bit will enter here. So this will remain 1. This will also become 1. But these will remain zeros. Now in the next clock cycle, when negative edge will come, as here we are giving input 1, here it will propagate to 1, so this will become input 1, so this will propagate here. So what will happen? This will remain 1, this will remain 1, and then this will also become 1. Got it? Now in the next clock cycle, when fourth input will come into the picture, this will be 1, this will be 1, this will be 1, this all will be 1. So in the next clock cycle, this will also become 1. So now your value will become 1, 1, 1, 1. Simply. Now what will happen in the next clock cycle? So because if you look into this diagram, or you can say this register, their IC is something like this. So you can say your CISO register, where input is your D3, output is your Q0, and here you will have a clock. And you can say here we have reset. Right? Now we got all the inputs into the registers by how many clock cycle? So if you count 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you'll require one clock cycle to input first bit, then second clock cycle to input second bit, third clock cycle to input third bit, and fourth clock cycle to input the fourth bit. Once 4 clock cycle is completed, then only all the data that you want to store that will feed it into the system. Right? Now, how you will get output? Because in this moment we got only one output right now, that is the Q0. You can say next 4 clock cycle again required to get the all output. So here in one clock cycle it will enter 1, then in the second clock cycle it will enter another one, then third another one, then fourth another one. Now after that, and you can say your clock cycle C1, C2, C3, C4. Then here it will operate like this, will give output 1, 1, 1, 1. Then you have C5, C6, C7, and C8. So in order to input and output to complete the process, we require 8 clock cycle to complete the process. So that's why this particular register is not good for storage, but it is good for as a shift register while you are making the right shift, right? Similarly, we'll see in the next lecture how to make it the left shift as well. And then we'll see how we can control left or right shift in the same register as well. So this is your simple CISO register, serial in, serial out, which is really not efficient for the storage, but it is efficient for the shift operation. Any doubt till this point? Anyone? Guys, any doubt till this point?
No, sir.
Cool. Now let's understand another kind of registers, that is serial in, parallel out. Serial in, parallel out. How exactly this will look like? This will look like this. You have input output, definitely that is there, right? But you have output as well that is coming out from each register. And here you have input. So let's say it's a D3 input, D3, D2, D1 and D0, and its output Q3, Q2, Q1 and Q0, right? Here we have clock as well. So let me connect the clock. Okay, so we got our, and here we have a reset points in order to reset the things, or you can say load and store the things. And here you have the clock, right? Now in this architecture, input is going only from D3. This is taking the input, so that's why the input is coming serial only. But after 4 clock cycle that we have seen, after 4 clock cycle, all the input, all the, you can say, outputs are available. So means immediately in the 5th clock cycle, you will get these outputs. So means you do not need to wait up to, you can say, 8 clock cycle, right? So these outputs will be available immediately in the 5th clock cycle. Now, how the IC will be look like? IC will be look like, here we have one input, let's say that is the D3, and here we have 4 outputs, Q3, Q2, Q1 and Q0. We have clock, and here we have, let's say, reset, right? That is the IC will be look like. Now where it is used, there are many places in the communication where you want to convert serial data into parallel, right? In that case, what you will do, you will utilize this CPO register. What this CPO register will take, it will take input as the serial, but it will produce, once all input is available, it will produce parallel as the output, parallel output. And this is heavily used in the communication, very heavily, right? So for example, whenever you are connected with the LAN, or you are connected with a system, right? Maybe that system will reduce getting the values only 1 bit at a time, but instead of waiting for the value, your system will do some other work. Once the entire thing is ready, it will take parallel out. So then this will speed up the things. So this is heavily used in serial in parallel out operations, SIPO registers, right? Then we have another variety of register, that is the parallel in parallel out register. One is parallel in and parallel out registers. This is pure storage register. This is pure storage register, where it will be look like this. So you can say here you have input D3. This is your D3, this is your D2, this is your D1, this is your D0. The only thing, clock is connected all together so that they can operate synchronously. Rest their inputs are independent. So this will be your D3, this will be your D2, this will be your D1, this will be your D0, and outputs also independent. So you can say your D0, this is your Q0, this will be your Q1, this will be your Q2, and this will be your Q3 output. So now if you look this into a IC form, how it will be look like, it has 4 inputs, D3, D2, D1, D0, and it has 4 outputs as well, Q3, Q2, Q1, Q0, right? Now let's this say your parallel in parallel out register, right? So what will happen, whenever a pulse will come, let's say this negative edge will come, all the inputs will go inside parallelly and it will produce the output. So means you do not need to wait. Within one clock cycle, all the outputs will be produced. And that is your pure storage register. Anyone, any doubt till this point? Guys, any doubt till this point? Anyone, any doubt till this point? Okay, so that's it for today. And in the next class, we will see one more register that is left. And then we'll see some other combinations as well. So